video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple paracord sling, but Balearic style, as in it's using a thong for your sling stone holding area, as opposed to the pocket woven type that you see, which frankly are not very effective. And this actually, if you're using the tools that I'm using and doing it through this method, it's pretty darn quick and easy to pump these things out. So, what you're going to need: paracord or braided cord, at least a 1/4 inch in thickness. They have thinner versions, but it's just not worth using. Something to cut your paracord with. We're going to use baling wire to hold our joints together, as opposed to trying to tie knots for every single joint. As such, you're going to need something to cut your baling wire and a couple of pairs of pliers to be able to manipulate it. Once you get to the end of it, you're also going to want some matches or a lighter to be able to burn the frayed edges to prevent the paracord from separating. So to start out, we're going to measure off 2 lengths of our paracord at about 30 inches or 76 centimeters. And that will cause you to end up with a sling of about this length. So I like to recommend to people that they use a sling that comes about from the tip of their finger to the end of their elbow, which obviously is shorter than this example that I first showed you. If you want to try and make one longer or shorter for the example that we're making, it'll be one about this length. It's a little harder to control longer slings. Some people feel like you can get a little more velocity out of them. A good starting point for a comfortable sling is one that reaches about down to the end of your elbow from the tip of your finger. You can see your ends are already fairly frayed. I'm going to go ahead and burn those just to make sure that we don't get further splitting. Now this melted nylon will be very, very hot for a while still. After you've melted it initially, you need to give it at least a minute to just cool down before you try and touch it or manipulate it at all, because it will stick to your fingers, and that is not a pleasant thing. It can also, if you're melting large amounts of it, drip. So you need to be very careful with that. Make sure you're not placing your fingers in a place where you're going to end up with nylon on you. Next, I'm going to cut off 3 short segments of baling wire, about 1.5 inches each, or 4 centimeters. And the first thing I'm going to do with those is form my finger loop on whatever end you want of one of your 30-inch segments here. Now you need to make sure and give yourself plenty of room in here. You don't want to make it too tight to where it's hard to fit your finger in, or it's uncomfortable to operate it. So I like to come down about that far. Uses probably about 3 inches. Your material there. I'm going to start this out. My baling wire in place. Use a little wider set of pliers and tighten this together. Make sure your hands are good and out of the way in case you slip. Clamp down on either side here. twist this around. Now we have a finger loop that will not slip, has no give whatsoever because the wire holds it down too tightly. I'm going to determine how long we want this portion to be. You can set the finger loop up at the tip of our finger, come down and determine where we want more or less the middle of our thong to set. So if this is where I want the middle of my thong, then we determine the length of the thong that we want to use. I want mine to be about 4 to 5 inches. So on either side of that, I'm going to come down past the point I want the middle mark. I'm going to call this the end of the thong down here, and I'm going to just cut this off right at this point. Okay, so this will make the thong portion, the first part of our sling. We'll come in now with one end of the other portion of the sling set these two strands side by side. And use the same process as the finger loop for clamping down our thong portion. When you attach the second portion of the thong, make sure, as both of your ends lie straight, that you join them with no gap or bulge in either side of your sling. If you end up with this sort of bulge on one side of your sling, it's going to create accuracy issues for you, as your stone will not sit evenly in the pocket. Okay, there you go. Now we have a solid thong set for our sling with no give on either side that we can experience in certain types of knots. Now the last portion, getting our sling completed, is to tie our grip knot on the far end. But we want to make sure that when we're holding the middle portion of our sling with the two ends for the ends of the thongs lined up perfectly, that our knot is going to go exactly where we need it to be able to match up with our finger loop here. definitely want to check this a time or two before you snug it all the way down. Okay. All right. Now we can just trim away the excess off. And prevent fraying.